As Prince Andrew faces intensifying scrutiny from U.S. congressional investigations, Sarah Ferguson is reportedly positioning herself for a primetime move that could shift the entire narrative. She's been approached by American broadcasters with six-figure offers to speak candidly, offers she's now seriously weighing. Her knowledge of Andrew's ties to Epstein, their life together at Royal Lodge, and her own interactions with Epstein place her at the center of one of the most sensitive stories in royal history. This isn't just media speculation, it's a potential legal and reputational earthquake in motion.
If you want more unfiltered royal truth, not the palace-approved version, hit like, subscribe and tell us in the comments, are Beatrice and Eugenie breaking the cycle or repeating history? Stay tuned. The tea only gets hotter.
The implications of Ferguson's decision stretch far beyond personal image repair. Her testimony, even if informal, could intersect with active investigations, adding pressure on Andrew and reigniting calls for accountability. What's seen as a media move by some is viewed by others as a threat to royal secrecy and legal stability. If she goes forward, Ferguson may not just be airing grievances, she could be altering the legal landscape Andrew currently navigates. Sarah Ferguson is once again at the center of a royal media storm, only this time, the fallout could be unprecedented. According to multiple sources, the former Duchess of York is actively weighing multiple six-figure offers for a no-holds-barred interview with American broadcasters. Not a puff piece, not a promo tour. A full-length, sit-down tell-all that could throw open the doors on one of the most scandalous chapters in modern royal history, the long and tangled web of associations between Prince Andrew, Jeffrey Epstein, and by extension the British monarchy. The mere possibility of this interview has already set off alarm bells inside Buckingham Palace. And for good reason. The timing, the content, the motivations, every part of this situation is loaded. Ferguson, who was once accepted back into the fold after years of being sidelined, now stands poised to say things that could unravel the royal family's carefully controlled public image. And no one knows what she's going to say or how far she's willing to go. What we do know is this: Ferguson was there. She lived at Royal Lodge with Prince Andrew for years, sharing not only a residence but the rhythms of daily life. She was one of the closest people to him during the height of his now infamous friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. She saw who came and went. She had conversations most people will never be privy to. Her insight isn't speculative, it's personal, observational, and deeply rooted in proximity. That alone makes her a dangerous variable. But what makes this even more volatile is the context. Ferguson is currently facing the real possibility of eviction from Royal Lodge. The property she's called home, the last remaining vestige of her royal ties, is slipping from her grasp. Her income streams have dried up. Her relevance in the public eye has dimmed. Financial pressure is mounting. And now, with several major American media outlets reportedly throwing cash her way, the incentives to speak up and speak candidly are stronger than ever. Insiders close to the palace are reportedly in a state of quiet panic. The fear isn't just that Sarah might confirm what people already suspect about Andrew and Epstein. The fear is that she might say more, that she could disclose new details about Epstein's interactions with Andrew, or about the way the royal family responded behind the scenes. And given Ferguson's well-documented history of emotional openness and unpredictability, the risk of her revealing something unintended or something that contradicts previous palace statements is very real. There's also growing concern that Ferguson may not fully grasp the scale of damage such an interview could cause. She reportedly sees the media opportunity as a way to rebrand herself not as an accomplice to scandal, but as a misunderstood former royal who got caught in the crossfire. She's reportedly aiming to position herself as a woman wronged by circumstance, pushed out of the monarchy while remaining loyal to a man the public has widely condemned. But that strategy isn't without its landmines. Ferguson's previous ties to Epstein are well documented, including public comments where she referred to him as a supreme friend. That, combined with her past acceptance of financial assistance from Epstein's circle, makes her a highly complicated figure. If she tries to lean too hard into victimhood, she risks backlash. If she tries to distance herself too aggressively, she risks contradicting known facts. Either way, the interview, if it happens, will be dissected word for word. Then there's the question of Andrew. He's already in deep trouble. His 2019 BBC Newsnight interview was supposed to be a chance to explain himself. Instead, it became a masterclass in PR failure. He denied wrongdoing, but came off cold, out of touch, and unconvincing.
If you want more unfiltered royal truth, not the palace-approved version, hit like, subscribe and tell us in the comments, are Beatrice and Eugenie breaking the cycle or repeating history? Stay tuned. The tea only gets hotter.
Since then, he's lost his royal patronages, his titles, and his public role. He continues to deny all allegations and has refused to cooperate with U.S. investigations. The idea that his ex-wife, someone who lived with him during all of this, might now speak publicly about what she witnessed. That's a nightmare scenario. Reports suggest Andrew is so concerned about the interview that he's asked Sarah to keep her distance from him, even though they technically still share the same property. Their once cozy cohabitation has apparently turned cold. The tension is palpable. And for Andrew, who is still under intense scrutiny from U.S. congressional investigations, any new media attention could complicate his legal and public relations situation even further, especially since the interview would likely happen in parallel with those ongoing investigations. If Ferguson provides even vague commentary about Andrew's trips on Epstein's planes, visits to his properties, or the royal family's internal handling of the allegations, it could create legal ripple effects. Even if she doesn't name names or confirm events outright, her mere willingness to entertain those topics could reignite interest from investigators and the media alike. And it's not just Andrew who could be impacted. Palace insiders are reportedly worried about collateral damage to the wider royal institution. Any reference to how senior royals responded to the Epstein scandal or how much they knew could implicate others by association. The monarchy, still trying to rehabilitate its public image in the post-Elizabeth era, could find itself mired in another firestorm. And yet, despite all this, Ferguson is said to be seriously considering moving forward. For her, the interview is more than a media deal. It's a turning point. After years of scandal, isolation, and financial setbacks, this is her moment to retake control of the narrative. Or so she thinks. Because while she may see this as a path to redemption, the risk of miscalculation is enormous. This is a woman known for speaking from the heart often without thinking about the consequences. If she overreaches, contradicts past accounts, or comes off as evasive, it could not only destroy her chances of public sympathy, it could also deepen the scrutiny into her past decisions and associations. And then there's the question of how the public will receive her. The appetite for royal scandal remains high, especially when the name Epstein is involved. People want answers. They want transparency. And Sarah Ferguson, like it or not, is one of the last remaining insiders who can speak firsthand about what really happened behind palace walls during the years Epstein and Andrew were closest. The demand is there. The money is there. The pressure is there. All that's left is her decision. Will she move forward, light the match, and potentially open a new chapter in one of the monarchy's most damaging sagas? Or will the threat of permanent exile, legal entanglement, and public skepticism be enough to keep her silent? For now, the palace waits, the press waits, the public waits, and Ferguson holds all the cards. One interview, one woman, a lifetime of royal secrets. And if she speaks, it won't just be another headline. It will be history in the making. Let us know what you think. Will Sarah Ferguson actually go through with it? And if she does, how far will she go? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if you've been following the royal fallout. And don't forget to subscribe, because if this story unfolds the way insiders fear, it won't be the last time we're talking about it. So here we are on the edge of what could be the most disruptive royal media moment since the fallout of Prince Andrew's catastrophic Newsnight interview. And the person potentially pulling the lever, not a journalist, not a whistleblower, but Sarah Ferguson, the same woman who once begged the press to leave her girls alone, the same woman who called Jeffrey Epstein a supreme friend, the same woman now possibly facing eviction from Royal Lodge and being pushed to the brink financially, emotionally, and reputationally. This isn't just a media story. This is a royal reckoning that's been quietly brewing for years. Ferguson's potential sit-down interview is far more than a personal PR attempt. It could unravel the palace's most tightly guarded narratives. What she chooses to say, what she doesn't say, and what she hints at between the lines will be pored over with forensic precision, because the stakes are enormous. We're not talking about soft gossip or distant connections. This is about the inner mechanics of a royal household that stood by Prince Andrew during the years he maintained a suspiciously close friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, a man who, by then, had already been convicted. Let's be clear. This is not a woman with second-hand knowledge. She was there. She was living under the same roof as Andrew. She was raising children in that environment. She was sharing space, staff, travel, and conversation. She wasn't watching from the sidelines. She was at the center of the royal orbit when it came to Andrew. And here's the ticking time bomb. The palace can't stop her. They can advise, they can warn, they can distance themselves, but they cannot legally prevent her from going on record. And that's where the tension lies. Because Sarah Ferguson isn't under the same constraints as active working royals. She's not beholden to the same strict communications codes. She's not protected, but she's also not gagged, which makes her uniquely positioned to blow the lid off of everything. Insiders reportedly worrying not just about what she might reveal but how she might reveal it. Ferguson has a long-standing reputation for being emotionally reactive and, at times, dangerously candid. That's not ideal when you're sitting across from a journalist whose job is to pull headlines out of sound bites. One slip-up, one contradiction, one moment of too much honesty and the consequences could be irreversible. And yes, it's true she might see this as a redemption arc, a way to reshape public perception. But she's not walking into neutral territory. Her past statements about Epstein, her financial ties to his associates, her proximity to Andrew, these aren't just inconvenient footnotes. They're core elements of the public's skepticism. Her insistence that she was naive or misled could be met with backlash if she fails to convincingly account for her closeness to people now universally condemned. On top of that, her recent eviction from Royal Lodge adds an undeniable layer of personal pressure. She's not just contemplating a tell-all from a place of empowerment, she's under economic duress. She's facing loss of security, privacy, and relevance. And that makes her motivations all the more complicated. Is this about truth? Or is this about survival? The palace knows this. And that's why they're nervous. Because desperate people don't always play by the rules. And then there's Andrew. Still hunkered down, still refusing to cooperate with U.S. authorities, still denying any wrongdoing. But now, the one person who knows exactly how involved he was in Epstein's orbit is thinking about stepping up to a microphone. Not under subpoena. Not behind closed doors. But on primetime American television. He's reportedly furious, and rightly so. His remaining threat of plausible deniability hinges on silence. On the lack of first-hand corroboration. If Sarah Ferguson starts filling in those blanks, his entire strategy deny, deflect, disappear could unravel overnight. And it's not like the public has forgotten. His ties to Epstein have been under the spotlight for years. His 2019 interview was a disaster. His credibility tanked. He lost his royal titles. And still, the palace never offered full transparency. If Sarah goes public now, the court of public opinion will reopen the file, and this time, they might not be as forgiving. Ferguson has been largely removed from royal life. She has no titles, no public duties, and most importantly, no obligations to protect the institution. If she feels betrayed, cornered, or abandoned, this interview might feel less like a risk and more like a release. It would be a moment years in the making. One woman, one camera, one chance to tell her version of a story the palace has worked tirelessly to contain. And when the footage rolls, if it does, there will be no going back. She could try to paint herself as innocent. She could try to explain the circumstances. She could try to justify her loyalty to Andrew as naivety, not complicity. But no matter how carefully she crafts her answers, her every word will be weaponized. By the press, by legal teams, by royal historians. This won't be a sympathetic chat, it will be a media event. And even if she says nothing new, even if she simply reiterates known facts, the very act of speaking out will reignite public scrutiny. It will raise new questions. It will put the spotlight right back where the palace doesn't want it, on Andrew, Epstein, and a royal culture of secrecy. If this interview happens, there's no putting the genie back in the bottle. Sarah Ferguson going on camera doesn't just mean another headline. It means a new lens through which the world will re-examine everything we've already been told and everything we haven't. She may not be an active working royal anymore, but she was there. In the rooms, at the dinners, on the flights. She shared a home with Prince Andrew for years, even after their divorce. She's been there through his rise, his fall, and now his public exile. Which is exactly why Buckingham Palace is reportedly bracing itself. Because if Sarah chooses to speak, what's really being exposed isn't just her own perspective or her relationship with Andrew. What's being exposed is how the monarchy has handled or failed to handle one of its most damaging modern controversies. The Epstein connections, the public denials, the legal dodging, the PR gymnastics. Ferguson could turn the spotlight on all of it just by answering a few carefully worded questions. And it's not a question of if the media will run with it. They already have. The second the news broke that she was considering interview deals, Sarah Ferguson is no stranger to scandal. She's been caught in sting operations. She's been accused of trading access to Andrew for money. She's battled headlines for years. But this is different. This isn't just about her behavior, it's about what she might reveal about someone else's. Someone the monarchy has spent years trying to shield, erase, and silence. And if she takes that step, even under the guise of reclaiming her own narrative, she risks unleashing something much bigger than herself. And here's what makes this all the more tense. The palace can't predict how it'll land. Sarah is unpredictable. She's candid. She's emotional. And while that may be part of her charm, it also makes her a nightmare for palace PR. Because you can't spin a live interview. You can't redact an emotional confession. You can't unring that bell. And even if she says nothing explosive, even if the interview is mostly about her financial struggles or her sense of betrayal by the institution, the context alone will keep the headlines coming. Because this isn't happening in a vacuum. It's happening while Prince Andrew is still under pressure, while the US Congress is still investigating Epstein's network, and while the royal family is desperately trying to move past the scandals that keep pulling them back in. And Sarah, she knows the value of timing. If this is her last card to play, she's playing it while the world is still hungry for answers, while Andrew remains silent, while investigators are still asking questions. And that makes this not just a personal move but a political one. Whether she means to or not, she could shift the narrative, add fuel to investigations, and drag the monarchy into a storm it hasn't prepared for. At this point, the question isn't why she would do it. That part's clear: financial desperation, a battered public image, and a deep sense of injustice over how she's been treated. The question now is, how far will she go? Will she stop short of naming names? Will she try to walk the fine line between loyalty and self-preservation? Or will she finally say what so many have suspected for years? Only Sarah Ferguson knows. But what's certain is this: the moment she says yes to that interview chair, the clock starts ticking. Let us know what you think. Will this interview actually happen? And if it does, what's the fallout going to look like for Prince Andrew, the palace, and the monarchy as a whole? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you've been following this saga, and make sure to subscribe. Because if this goes forward, what comes next won't just be headlines, it could be a royal earthquake. Thanks so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, you're officially part of the small percentage of people who don't just click away, and that means a lot. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me your thoughts, your ideas, or even what you'd like to see next. I read every single one of them, and your feedback genuinely shapes the direction of this channel. If you enjoyed the video, tap that like button. It tells YouTube this content is worth sharing. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next upload. We've got more exciting videos coming, and trust me, you'll want to be here for them. This channel is just getting started, and your support helps it grow faster than you realize. Thank you again for spending a part of your day here with me. Stay curious, stay motivated, and as always, take care of yourself. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.